What up? This is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Devotion. Hey, before you watch my review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, ring that bell, so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. Let's rock this. Okay, so Sony Pictures brought this film to Toronto International Film Festival 2022 earlier this month. And to be honest with you, at first I was initially baffled because TIFF is usually an event for Oscar hype movies, and so movies about fighter jet planes don't usually fit that bill. But then I watched the film and immediately I went, oh, now I see. Turns out, Devotion is more drama than action, based on the true story of the late great pilot Jesse Brown, played in the film by Jonathan Majors. So while Devotion aerial fight action leaves much to be desired, but the friendship drama based on its subject matter soared. Simply put, if you go in without expecting this film to emulate Top Gun Maverick, you'll be just fine. That said, to me, Devotion is an Oscar bait, an award bait, and one that I think will ultimately go nowhere. Because to be honest, this movie kinda does almost nothing for me. Listen, I mean no disrespect to the memory and the legacy of Jesse Brown, but Devotion is one of those films that tell you to feel this, feel that. So that kind of strategy is not really all that effective. Based on Adam Mako's book, scripted by Jake Crane and Jonathan A.H. Stewart, and directed by J.D. Dillard, Devotion, an aerial war epic based on the best-selling book of the same name, tells the harrowing true story of two elite US Navy fighter pilots during the Korean War. Their heroic sacrifices would ultimately make them the Navy's most celebrated wingmen. Starring Jonathan Majors, Glenn Powell, Christina Jackson, Thomas Sadoski, and Joe Jonas. Now, don't get me wrong, just because this film falls short in terms of its aerial combat or dogfight as they call it, it doesn't mean that those sequences are not well executed, and they actually are. I mean, the cinematography and the sound designs are visceral and excellent, and it does a solid job of putting a spotlight on a particular war in history that people often forget about. It's just that the frequency of those scenes are few and far between, and they are not the film's main focus. I also think it's a missed opportunity that the script doesn't delve into Jesse's journey of becoming a pilot. Jonathan Majors as Jesse is often seen talking to himself in front of the mirror, indicating or hinting the racism that he experienced back in school or back at the academy, but we, the audiences, never get to see that. Look, sometimes leaving it to just the monologues can be powerful, but in the case of Devotion, that aspect always feels like a missing piece. We do, however, get to see the racism that he experiences from his fellow peers at the Navy, and that's where Glenn Powell's character Tom would step in and prove himself to be the best friend that Jesse needs. Now, seeing Glenn Powell in yet another fighter pilot movie, again after Top Gun Maverick, in the same year is amusing. It kind of makes you wonder what will be his next one to complete that trilogy, if you will. But for reals though, Glenn does have all the physical bearing of a military figure. But Glenn's performance here, of course, does not outshine Jonathan Majors, who shows an impressive emotional gravitas. But I still stand by what I said earlier in that by the end of it, Devotion doesn't deeply move me as much as I thought it would. I mean, it's good that the story of Jesse Brown is finally told on the big screen and portrayed in the most respectful way, and maybe some audiences will see this depiction as something that's inspiring and triumphant, then hey, God bless, more power to them. But I'm in the camp that say, this movie could have been a lot better.